Unlike feminism and the men's rights movements, both of which are mass movements with identifiable organizations under known leaders articulating goals to serve a more or less coherent agenda, MGTOW is a consciousness. This is most clearly demonstrated by the videos of Marcus's groundwork for the metaphysics of MGTOW, Sandman, Turd-Flinging Monkey, Vention MGTOW, Stardust, Bern Chapin on Chapin's Inferno, Cultane, and Dave Cullen's Computing Forever, among others. All of them have produced many videos focusing on knowledge, awareness, self-improvement, and enlightenment. Even Rush's website, Return of Kings, his origins as a pickup artist notwithstanding, exemplifies the virtues of MGTOW. Feminism and the men's rights movement, on the other hand, fall into the category of identity politics, while MGTOW does not. MGTOW is individualistic and creative and constructive and focused to a great degree on enlightenment. Mass movements, however, like feminism and the men's rights movement, are reactionary. They arise in response to specific complaints. They arise in opposition to somebody or something, and they are essentially destructive, or, if you prefer, deconstructive. As Eric Hoffer wrote in The True Believer, hatred is the most accessible and comprehensive of all the unifying agents. Mass movements can rise and spread without a belief in a God, but never without belief in a devil. So for feminists, men, masculinity, and the patriarchy are their devils, and for the men's rights movement, feminists are the devil, and both are expressions of identity politics. Both seek to achieve their goals through government action by portraying their group members as victims. This is not to say I oppose the men's rights movement. I don't. I am anti-feminist. Feminism has been a hate movement from the second wave in the 1960s to the present fourth wave, and I see the men's rights movement as an effective means to neutralize the feminist movement. For an interview with the Seattle Times back in the late 90s, I told the reporter that the men's rights movement is reactionary. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, I was one of the more visible leaders of the men's rights movement. As a libertarian in those days and a classical liberal today, I was and am very aware of the collectivist nature of the men's rights movement. Many, if not most, of the movement's leaders were and are progressives. Some, like Warren Farrell, were and are more liberal than progressive, but while Warren is a hero of mine, I still part company with him on his big government solutions, like the White House Council on Boys and Men. Feminists see big government as the answer, and so do they. They see government programs built around male victimization as the means to equalize the status of men. In this respect, they're trying to play catch-up with the feminists, and in this respect, the men's rights movement is like feminism. And like feminists who condemn any woman as suffering from internalized misogyny if they do not embrace the feminist agenda, MRAs tend to condemn men who, like John Galt from Ayn Rand's novel Atlas Shrugged, withdraw their support for the system, refusing to give the sanction of the victim and, instead, go their own way. MRAs complain that we do not stand up for men's rights, not defending ourselves from those who would victimize us, and no doubt eventually some of them will begin to condemn us as suffering from internalized misandry. But that's because they're viewing MGTOW through the lens of leftist collectivist progressivism with its focus on identity politics of mass movements. But MGTOW is not a mass movement. It's a consciousness. And the men of MGTOW are all at different points on the paths of their personal journeys. Some are still in the red pill stage, going through the grieving process. Denial, which is where we find the white knights and beta male orbiters. Anger, which is what Sandman refers to as the red pill rage. Bargaining, which is where you find the male feminists and men's rights movement. Depression, when you finally grasp the gynocentric nature of our modern culture, which enslaves male dominance to female hypergamy. And acceptance, which is where you find MGTOW. Like Harry Brown, MGTOW have realized that you, too, can find freedom in an unfree world. As Ayn Rand wrote, the evil of the world is made possible by nothing but the sanction you give it. Generally, MGTOW revoke the sanction of the victim. This doesn't mean we do not fight for our rights. Some do. Some simply walk away. This doesn't mean that we all pick up and move to the wilderness to live off the grid. Some do, many don't. This does not mean we withdraw from society. Some do, most don't. And this does not mean that we hate women. In fact, as turd-flinging Monkey has observed, MGTOW are better able to love women than anybody else because we understand them and accept them for who and what they are. Nor does this mean that we oppose the men's rights movement. A few do, but most of us simply see it for what it is, the mirror image of feminism, another form of identity politics. And we don't do identity politics because we are MGTOW. We are men going our own way.